Hey friends, Terrace Blunderscore here. So recently, I've been taking part in a Pokemon Draft League over on Reverend's Discord. Cool guy, by the way, check him out. For those of you who don't know, a draft is where everyone gets points to build a team of Pokemon, with good stuff costing lots and bad stuff being cheap. It's a fun format in theory, until the Pokemon you're wanting gets picked and you're left with your hands up your ass trying to find a suitable replacement. In all honesty, it's a very fun format. There's Pokemon you love and you get to have fun with, and ones you haven't used but who find a place in your heart, and then there's the rest. This has been a really enjoyable tournament to participate in though. It's Gen 7 Nat decks, so everything up till Ultra Sun and Moon is on the table, with the exception of the obvious ban stuff that's too good. I suppose removing the strong Pokemon makes it more like you're watching a World Star video, in the sense that you're watching two freaks with no combat experience trying to kill each other. Shout out to Sparse for this idea, by the way. I probably wouldn't have cooked this up otherwise if they didn't get the ball rolling to begin with. I'll apologise in advance if I missed your reverse sweep with Wartortle or something. There was over 170 replays in this damn league, and I wanted to make a video about the tournament this century. So anyway, I have collected the cream of the crop of these replays for us to sit down and watch together. Here we go! Chiva versus Magnus. So I want to put the best foot forward and open with one of the funniest things I've seen in this draft league. Before the match even starts, Magnus has brought two different weather setters with his Pelipper and Hippowdon. I think Magnus was maybe hoping to just confound Chiva before the match started with so many different weather effects that they have a brain aneurysm and give him the default win. But here it's only turn 2 and we have Shiva's Miltank deploying its Milky Whirlpool to work as a trapper. I, along with like 96% of the players in this draft, did not think Miltank learned Whirlpool, and the more I think about it, the more I think I might just cry. But after 3 turns of Kartana trying to break the Miltank with fighting attacks, and a Z-move, it decides to switch into Hippowdon in order to roar it out into the far less intimidating Mega Scizor.
It scares me.
Later, when Magnus brings in Kartana again, Chiva sees the writing on the wall and decides to just bring Miltank in again to eat its flimsy fighting attack before just killing it with the Rocky Helmet. What's funnier is that not only does Miltank defeat one nuclear threat, it defeats 2. From watching this match, Miltank definitely earned a spot on the list of low tier cuties. I think this Pokemon is absolutely incredible. Bows versus Burning Monsoul. This starts as a fairly standard match between Bows and Burning Mon until turn 4, where Bows brings in the Alpha Predator Cradily. Bows named her entire draft team after Cradily, correctly identifying that it was the single best Pokemon she could have drafted. It sits in on Nidoqueen, throwing out powerful sludge waves before just draining it like it's a damn Capri Sun. Even with leftovers knocked off, Cradily sits in on Mega Diancie, draining a second victim, killing one of the best Megas in the draft and adding another notch onto its positive KD. Bows only brought it to one match, but it already outperformed some of her more deceptively powerful threats like Bisharp and Salamence. Later on, Burning Mon's Uxie at 14% decides to imprison the Tapu Fini. I don't know why, because she just kills it with a Moonblast. I don't know what enlightened tech Burning Mon was trying to prep for, but it's clearly not enough with his team broken up. It's an easy cleanup for Mega Beedrill and fucking Diggersby. Monai versus Eels. In this match, Eels brought her Golisopod as a contingency against Monai's Manaphy. It's worth noting, Eels played in the bracket that had a Manaphy that got 19 kills over 8 games, so you can bet your balls she knew it would be an absolute problem. Don't worry, Golisopod can eat a 2.5 times boosted Surf in the Rain and survive. Goliso switching out after eating its berry seems so tragically unoptimal, but a Scarf Raikou is all Eels needs to scare the Manaphy out and just stop it doing untold levels of damage. Later, Eels brings Golisopod in again to finish the Manaphy off, but rolls the weakest first impression ever and is asked to leave this mortal coil. Unfortunately, Monai realises they can't break through Eel's disgusting core of Alomomola and the most evil Gliscor set ever created, and realises there's better things they can do with their time.
I'm bored of this. I'm going for a Twix.
Cheesy versus Reverend. Now, I don't think any video that's about Revcord is complete without an appearance from the cryptid himself. I'll be honest, I was kind of wondering where to put this match between Rev and Cheesy, but I think just slapping a Golisopod replay next to another one is a fairly sensible way to operate. Honestly, Rev, Eels and Goblin were all cooking when they picked Golisopod. It was way too good a pick to somehow cost less than shit like Throw or Durant. Anyway, Cheesy and Rev sort of found themselves a bit of a stalemate early on, where Cheesy can't kill anything with her burned Crobat, and Reverend has jack shit in terms of stuff that can grab a quick kill. So as a result, we get to see Golisopod switch into Crobat, and somehow this little bug type, susceptible to brave bird attacks, is able to stay in for 6 turns and not die. It's actually incredible. This beast is able to recover 60% of its health and continues to linger about like a fart in a lift. And all Crobat can do is click taunt before Reverend has finally set up an opportune moment to kill it with an unboosted knockoff from Crocodile, continuing the age-old tradition of a Crobat in a draft game clicking taunt and then getting absolutely bodied. And then to juxtapose this cat and mouse game, Aurorus just dies in the least interesting way possible. Zelemental versus Burgundy. In this match, Burgundy brought a stall core with sub-protect Garchomp, regen Tangrowth and Clefable. But what we want to look at is Trapinch, Alpha Predator and fan favourite. Burgundy baits in Zelly's Mega Manectric with Tangrowth looking like a juicy target for an overheat, but what he doesn't expect is for Trapinch to not even go into the red from an overheat followed by a Hidden Power Ice, meaning Trapinch can get his one and only kill of the draft and one-shot Mega Manectric from full HP. Amazing stuff. It toxics the Tyranitar too, who bravely decided to set rocks and not just kill it immediately. But with Burgundy's dopamine machine killed off, this match descends into a 70 turn snooze, with Burgundy chipping away at Zelly's defensive wall of Zapdos and Slowbro. Honestly, I can hardly complain about this. She whipped my ass with this and she made playoffs and I didn't, so who's the better player here? Shiva versus Burning Mon. In this match, Burning Mon brought in their Kyurem B against the terrifying Milk Baby. Unfortunately for Miltank, Kyurem brought his thinking hat and remembers that you can kill Miltank. It is possible. The myth of the immortal cow has been debunked. Later on, Spiritomb comes in on Starmie, hoping to grab an easy pursuit kill, but Starmie sees right through this facade and shoots a devastating Hydro Pump.
Hell of a shot, mister!
With Starmie dispatched, Shiva brings out her ace in the hole, Zeraora. If it gets a boost, this could be bad news for BMS. How's he going to vanquish this insurmountable foe? Kiss that berry destiny bond. I think any Pokemon could have done that, but I don't think anything is funnier than seeing the 5-point Spiritomb kill the second most expensive Pokemon in the draft. Fursuit Pikachu. Azulis versus Derp Zones. Early on in this match between Derp Zones and Azulis, Azulis sets up their Suicune with a Calm Mind Boost and a fucking Z Aqua Ring to make them extremely unkillable. It's starting to look like it's going to roll Derp Zone's team, but not if Frosted Flakes hazes away the stat boosts and allows their Charizard Y to fucking atomize it with Solar Beam. God bless you, Cryogonal. The 238th best draft pick and the #1 choice for breakfast enjoyers everywhere. I've no doubt that Suicune would have absolutely rolled Derp Zone's team if it did keep its boosts. Later on, Cryogonal uses its Babiri Berry and Reflect to negate the damage of Mega Aggron's Heavy Slam, but at 17% HP, it's not enough and Mega Aggron gets the kill anyway. That's so funny to me, it's like trying to patch up a decapitated head with a fucking plaster, I love it. By the way, it's worth noting that Azulis drafted Ambipom. The TOs put Ambipom at 21 points when the best Pokemon you could possibly want are 18 points. It was basically just a joke because Ambipom is not very good, but Azulis is the only person out of like the 50 or so players who actually picked it, and for that they honestly deserve every good thing in life that comes to them. CL Rack versus Faye. This game might be the juiciest opening couple of turns I've seen in my life. Straight away on turn 1, bap. Choice Scarf is an incredible item in draft, and having the stones to just lead with it turn 1 is truly awe-inspiring. Oh, switching Garchomp into the Hydreigon? This Garchomp must have a super effective move to dispatch this awful creature.
Whoops!
Honestly, props to Faye for playing the rest of this match because I would have just fucking ate gun at that point. Regardless, it's still anyone's game to win, and Faye recovers some tempo by reducing the Ferrothorn and Hydreigon to dust with her Rotom. But once Mamoswine presents itself to the Roserade again, it could be over. But wait, what if Roserade used a Resist Berry? Jesus Christ. Running Icicle Spear just to get around the Yachi Berry is incredible. It's like that Terrakion that ran Double Kick, but in this case it's not cheating and is therefore about 40 times funnier. And then Z Hypnosis Mew sweeps the rest of Faye's team. Did you know Z Hypnosis boosts your speed, by the way? That's terrifying. I drafted Mew in my division, but I do not think I brought anything anywhere near this incomparably enlightened. Mia versus Eels. In this match between Eels and Mia, we get another case of Golisopod getting to showcase its value as a 3-point purchase. But that's not even the thing in this fight that's getting my nips hard. No, we get to see the unbelievable tech of Cofagrigus tanking a Lopunny hit and then changing its ability to completely neuter its wall breaking capabilities. Unfortunately for Mia, there's nothing stopping Eels just switching out and doing it again once the Hydreigon kills the evil Coffin with Dark Pulse. It's also worth noting that the special attacking Hydreigon ran Z Earthquake in order to kill the Alolan Muck specifically, just in case it was Assault Vest. I love seeing mixed attackers in the year 2025, it feels like I'm seeing a critically endangered species. Next up on BBC Two, we've got a brief film, Weird Shit from Revcord Usum Draft League. Hello, and welcome to Weird Shit from Revcord Usum Draft League, where we showcase select moments from replays that have weird shit. In our first chapter, we find Tailspike on the back foot here, with Artie's Volcarona having amassed some game-ending boosts. Fortunately, our hero Exploud has a powerful soundproofing technology to render them immune to the 2.5 boosted Bug Buzz, letting them follow up with a Z Whirlwind, if only that futile act of defiance actually meant anything. In our second chapter, Darkix has set up a belly drum with her Snorlax. Its combination of a Pinchberry, Gluttony and Recycle allows it to have a nigh infinite amount of healing. This devastating beast is able to break the core defences of Orc and Rust's team and, while one Flexif does not live to see the fruits of its labour, her team is able to finish the job. In our third chapter, we have Oria's Porygon 2 switching into Snow's Tornadus Therian, which is then scared away by the Plastic Duck's potential Ice Beam attack. What we also see is that Porygon 2 traced Tornadus' Regenerator ability, and then Gardevoir traces that. I'm gonna be honest, there's not much else of note in this replay, I just thought fucking bootleg Regenerator was pretty funny. In our fourth chapter, we have Snow's Serperior using its contrary ability to start its trademark snowballing effect. Secret Seller foresees the deadliness of the rocks on his Golbat however, and chooses to defog against the Superior, boosting its evasion. This could be deadly, but Golbat just fucking has haze the whole time and completely gimps it. Unfortunately, Golbat does not have the tools to deal with another 3 Pokemon and ultimately succumbs to its injuries. And it's in pain the whole time. In our final chapter, we have Super Pancho facing off against Dorth, in a match that can only be described as one of the many games happening that week. Early on, Blissey is tricked a Choice Scarf by Dorth's Chandelure, effectively neutering it for the rest of the game. Later, on turn 44, with both teams severely weakened, Dorth takes the Choice Scarf back off of Blissey, but makes a fatal realisation as Blissey kills the Thunderous Therian, and Dorth locks himself into Flamethrower, hoping it will break the best special wall in the entire game. The end result is that 30 fucking turns of this 73 turn game is just Blissey stalling out the Chandelure's PP before it struggles and kills itself. That certainly was some weird shit. Super Pancho versus Blunderscore? I wonder if this familiar name will provide us an honest look into their skills and weaknesses. I'm gonna stop you right there. This is a clang sweep, and it's arguably my best match. After getting way too much value out of my Klefki, I let it die so I can switch into the absolute sweetheart and my favouriteest Pokemon ever. And then I just click its one good move in shift gear before turning Pancho's team into dust on the pavement. I think there's a lot of love watching low tier slop absolutely wreck house, so I'm delighted to have played my part in that. Good job, Clang. I love you. Reverend versus that one Heavy. Heavy has brought in their Necrozma, utilising the grassy terrain to set up a seed boost. Even after one turn, it's setting up some pretty horrifying win con. What devilish plans has this man concocted in the 2 years since his first draft league? How's he gonna win? It's a shame Rev didn't run a priority move to beat that. Can you imagine not having a plan in place to stop your opponent's win con? Foreshadowing is a literary device. Gandhi versus Mira. So Mira was a late game sub and inherited the powerful Team Yuri. Mira brought the core lesbian romance of Lopunny and Finny in this match against Gandhi, but I really don't think their sapphic energies mattered all that much when Mira leads Magnezone and kills its second best counter on turn 1, and then clicks Magnet Rise to completely invalidate the first best counter. I think what's incredible is that a Pokemon with absolutely no recovery is able to just piss Gandhi off and evade getting killed for 23 turns. Like it's running away from a haunted pirate in a Scooby-Doo chase sequence. The icing on the cake is Mira doesn't even allow Gandhi to take the last 5% off of Magnezone. No, they play for the diff and let Buzzwole eat the Z Earthquake before murdering them with an Ice Punch. God damn you, Mira. Blunderscore versus Orcamrust. So I started this match against Orcamrust fresh off the heels of winning my first week. Surely I'll manage to enter this with a level head and not completely fly off the handle with dogshit sets.
Careful, Icarus.
Yeah, I won't deny, I got team building help for my first week, and then I decided I could take the training wheels off and try and do a marathon in my little clown unicycle for week 2. The end result is me grabbing a default tank Zygarde set from the Showdown calculator, not realising that if I just fucking click rest without a Chesto Berry, my opponent, who has curated their team to beat me, will just click Belly Drum and kill me. Honestly, I could whinge about the moves and the defensive core Orcam brought, but like, I got fucking 6-0'd. I can't really actually my way out of that. Moth versus Artie. Yeah, this is a long match. Better yet, this is literally the longest game in the entire draft. So props to you, Artie and Moth, for dragging this one out for 122 fucking turns. And further props to each of you for playing so tactfully that the first death wasn't until turn 77, where after slowly whittling each other down, Moth's Bronzong is trapped by Wobbuffet and is forced to try and play a horrifying version of the Monty Hall problem, where one option deals 7% and the other just kills you. Later, on turn 102, Moth's Charizard Y is trapped by the weakened blue guy but lands a Solar Beam while avoiding the Destiny Bond. Good job of it, Wobbuffet. And then the remaining time is Artie stalling out the drought until it's safe to drop Dragonite. The real good news is that now after 116 turns of waiting, we get to see Artie just systematically kill every last Pokemon on Moth's team. It's like watching Supernatural where it's 20 episodes of filler until everything comes crashing down in the last 5 minutes, except in this case it was actually good. Gunker versus Burgundy. It only feels fair that since we just saw the longest match, we can also watch the shortest match. There's hardly anything to even say here. Gunker's Ribombi immediately dies, and Gunker brings in Lalo fucking Salamenta.
Who are you? Me? Nobody. I just need to talk to my lawyers.
And then it's pretty much GG. It clicks Dragon Dance once, and then Burgundy is just ruined. Before we continue watching matches, let's take a break to look at some funny little moments that belong in their own little section where maybe you don't need to see a whole match. I'm going to call funny little moments that belong in their own little section where maybe you don't need to see a whole match. Brawlin versus Score Bunny. So someone in the Discord said we should have a little contest for who has the best nicknames for their Pokemon. I don't remember who suggested it and I can't find their comment, but I think the victor lies in this replay between Brawlin and Score, where Score brought what I think is possibly the funniest nickname I've seen on Showtime.
The pox upon life itself, feared and despised by all.
Thank you, Score, for letting me live in a world with your Conkeldurr. I love him. So Snow brought their Hippowdon to this game against Drew, and the whole time Drew hasn't managed to do much about it beyond catching it with a really good grass knot exactly one time. Now in the endgame, Drew has their boosted Holucha with a Celesteal in the back to face off against it. Unfortunately, Snow has a really powerful bond with her Hippo and manages to land a freeze on the Holucha, before killing it with another Ice Fang.
Ice fishing!
Now check this.
Ice fishing!
Yeah, Hippo crits this and freezes, but it doesn't even outdamage the leftovers and Leech Seed. Even with fucking back-to-back crits and a freeze, Snow sees there's no way to break this and honourably forfeits against the unbreakable Bamboo Shoot. So here, Rev tries to force a switch on Phase Garchomp with his Noivern, and then U-turning on the switch to create an advantage. Unfortunately, Faye either predicts this or doesn't care, and lets Noivern take almost 40% on a single U-turn. Maybe they thought their Garchomp was faster, because they click Draco Meteor anyway, and the Clefable just eats it. Great job, guys. Here we see Clav switching their Lando into Spag's Pelipper and catching a pretty nasty Hurricane. With their fate sealed, they decide to Anhero and bravely try to take Pelipper with them. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, but what you don't know is Pelipper attempted to use U-turn there, so Lopunny can Encore and just force it out. I'm not sure what purpose it served when Lopunny could have just killed it with a return anyway, but still, it is pretty funny. Now, I feel it's my solemn duty to showcase at least one match where Reverend isn't getting rolled. So let's look at his match with Bows, where we're going to pay special attention to his Avalugg. First off, it boldly sits in on Bow's Tapu Fini. Now what reason could it possibly have to make such a gutsy decision against a notable special attacker?
Stitch this, mate.
Wow. The best part is that's not even the only thing Avalugg does in this game. Later, on turn 11, it switches into Bow's Gliscor and easily weathers a status boosted Facade. Bows confidently goes for the kill, but not if Avalugg eats her little priority berry, letting her use Ice Fang and cleanly one-shot the Gliscor from full HP. Now, here's Artie and our resident stall enjoyer Goblin. While I think playing stall games is about as much fun as fishing a body out of a canal, Goblin was absolutely cooking with this Bisharp set. He gave it Protect, Substitute, Iron Head, and fucking Spite. Alongside Pressure, this was actually an incredible way to stall Artie out of PP. Now you could argue that because Goblin doesn't win this match that it's actually not cool, and I could jab you in the gums with a screwdriver as a retort. I think in 40,000 years, when the ape people dig up our remains and find a record of this, they will vindicate him as a scholar ahead of his time.
I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically.
This one is something special. For what it's worth, Zelly and Super Pancho done prep with each other almost every week, so when it came time for their match, I'm sure they both had an understanding of each other's gameplay habits. At the very least, Zelly had their finger on the pulse of Pancho's game style by leading the deceptively weak Alolan Sandslash into Pancho's Victini. Victini opens with V-Create because it's already kind of an incredible move that Zelly doesn't want to eat, but unfortunately, Zelly foresaw this exact line of play and came prepared with the Focus Sash into a turn 1 counter. killing one of Pancho's most pivotal Pokemon with one of those single-minded counterplays I've seen in my life. Now here, we have Score's Steelix amassing some serious bulk against Gandhi's Fortress, who really wants to set up spikes for some reason. After deciding it's lost enough momentum and wanting to sacrifice it in order to safely bring in something else, it goes for a hopeless Gyro Ball and deals 0%. Now, I know it dealt some damage, but I think it's really funny that the Steelix is so fucking yoked it doesn't even register as a notable amount at all. Later, in the face-off between Sharpedo and Gyarados, the Sharpedo tries to Destiny Bond, hoping to at least take Gyarados with it. Unfortunately, in a previously unforeseen circumstance, their bond is too strong, and Sharpedo refuses to take a lethal amount of damage, meaning Gyarados just gets to kill it next turn, and it dies. Painfully. Lastly, in our section, funny little moments that belong in their own little section where you maybe don't need to see a whole match, we have Clav facing off against Secret Seller. Turn 1, Secret Seller's Arbok immediately goes for Switcheroo, and lands what is quite possibly the most crucial target it could have been gearing for, tricking the Black Sludge onto the Tangrowth. I'm not sure how critical it was to Secret Seller's win when they were already just making good decisions, especially when it also got toxicked after daring to switch in a second time, but still. These two moves turned this bulky wall into the weakest, mouldiest pile of tagliatelle I have ever seen. And now, let us return to our regularly scheduled programming with this match between Shiva and Cherry. Shiva's Weavile immediately leads with a Life Orb boosted beat up, easily killing the Galvantula, and probably breaking its Focus Sash too, let's be honest. So how's Cherry going to counter this devastating first turn?
Stop! He's already dead!
Oh. There's a lot to be said about watching a game where there's lots of different strategies and plans unfolding, but I think there is nothing funnier than a Pokemon clicking the same move 3 times and killing something each time it's clicked. Zygarde is finally brought in after seeing half of its team die before it's even turn 5. It grabs the KO on Weavile with extreme speed, but by then Cherry has understandably seen the writing on the wall and just forfeits. Which I 100% do not blame her for, by the way. I do thank her for playing her part in what be one of the best replays I've seen in this draft though. Thank you, Cherry, for your service.
Hey, you did good, huh?
Shadby versus Nicetown. Now, you might be thinking that this match might be about the Mega Kangaskhan going to town, but it's honestly not even the focal point of the match. The MVP here is Rotom Wash, who must have done an under-the-table deal with a no-guard Golurk or something, because it clicks Hydro Pump 6 times this game, and it lands every single one. Shadby's Nidoqueen also landed 2 Blizzards without missing as well. If my A in Into Maths has paid off, then this means landing all these successfully was a 12% chance. That's pretty incredible. It's not the flashiest way to win, but Shadby's bond with her washing machine was so strong that nothing Nicetown did could overcome it. Moth versus Aurea. Here we have Aurea, who's brought their Z Eevee against Moth's actually incredible team. They have a Grass Fire Water Core and a Steel Fairy Dragon Core. Already on turn 4 we have this fairly insignificant defog, but it leads into turn 5, where he calls out the rocks and catches them with a Magic Coat. Amazing stuff. Applying your covert cobbles is pretty important when they're so strong, but it doesn't stop it being a boring move to watch. Magic Coating them, on the other hand, is incredible, and I love it. Later on, we have Venusaur using Z Sleep Powder and Sun to boost its own speed, which is probably already incredible with Chlorophyll. After a double growth boost, it's starting to look deadly, but the Latios wakes up after one fucking turn of sleeping and clicks its super effective stab move. No prizes for guessing what happened. This exchange leads us into Z move Eevee. Now there was a clause in place saying you can't use Omni boosting Z moves, with the exception being Eevee because she's just so darn cute. With doubled stats, this mighty warrior shall surely lay waste to all that lays before her. Oh. Finally, the match ends with Luxray facing off against Charizard Y. I couldn't make this ending up. Yeah, Luxray kills the Charizard and then dies to the recoil. And because of the way deaths work, Aurea gets the fucking win despite both teams having no Pokemon. I feel it would have been more theatrical to end this replay with the Z Eevee, but the actual ending was too good. God damn you both. Heavy versus Conchonery. So deep down, I really hoped we'd have at least one match in the draft that was a classic reverse sweep, where one player is on their last Pokemon and comes back from the brink with a fantastic sweep. While there's nothing like that on the docket, this match between Heavy and Conchonery comes damn near close. In 25 turns, Con has already been put on the back foot, with Heavy having a 3-1 advantage over their Scarf Mamoswine. However, Mamoswine got a full 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep last night. All it does is click Icicle Crash, but check this. Flinch on the Celesteela. Double flinch on the Necrozma? By this point, however, Mamo has exhausted his gamer energies and isn't able to keep it up before the Necrozma just pulls the trigger with a single Psychic. GG. Mamo deserved that win, honestly. He got fucking robbed. Orcam Rust versus Super Pancho. The only other match in the draft that comes remotely close to a reverse sweep. Early on, Pancho loses his Blissey and Chiron Black, meaning there's not really anything to check the Mega Venusaur from just pressing Leech Seed and slowly whittling away at Pancho's remaining Pokemon. That is, of course, unless Haunter sets up the juiciest Destiny Bond after dancing around the Venusaur for a couple turns, just to create the illusion that Pancho was throwing it to the fucking wolves, rather than throwing it to the wolves with 18 kilograms of plastic explosive strapped to its body. With Orcam's ridiculous core of Venusaur and Celesteela gone, Pancho is able to recover momentum and go 4-1 with his Tapu Koko, who survived this assassination attempt with 4% HP. This also might be the first time I've seen leftovers provide more value than a Gen 7 Pinchberry on an offensive Pokemon. Incredible work, bud.
Give it a try, like kissing a peanut.
Now, after showing you some funnies, some ha-has, some goofs and gags, I want to step things up a notch.
Damn!
I want to showcase what I think are the best games and moments I've seen in the entire draft. And I think there's no greater way to provide that than with an arbitrary numbered list. YouTubers love to just slap shit into a top 5, and I am no different. Like I'm some sort of malformed Watch Mojo account. So let us start off with a small snippet from the conflict between Bows and Chris. So right away you're going to see why this replay is so bloody good. Turn 1 we have the all gas no break choice of clicking Shell Smash and immediately clicking Icicle Spear on the Dawn fan, but yeah, Donphan eating that berry just to suffer a bit longer is pure theatre. Like he was trying to swallow a cyanide capsule and choked to death on it instead. Chris brings in his Philomena Conch and after this immediately knocks off the Toxic Orb on the Gliscor. The dopamine of seeing the words knocked off Gliscor's Toxic Orb is enough to get the hairs on my neck standing on end. Props to Chris for the name choice on the Conkeldurr too, by the way. I think Conkeldurr and Mew are like the first and second places for the funniest nicknames in the whole draft. After that, what else do we got? Oh, Volcarona boosts twice and looks like Chris can make a reverse sweep, but Salamence ate his spinach and unfortunately has the mental fortitude to resist the boosted Psychic and close out the game with Gengar's help. I'm gonna be honest, I put this in top 5 solely because of the turn 2 Donphan death, but thought, sure, the rest of the replay has some good stuff too, why not show that? So well done to you both. Next, let's turn to Mia. You could complain that this isn't really a replay, but more so a showcase of the Manaphy that she drafted. But I could send you pictures of your front door as means of keeping you quiet. Anyway, this thing is fucking incredible. Mia brought it to every single game, and in 7 of those 8 games it done something. The off day was because Mia was busy rearranging Gunker's lower intestines with Muck, Entei and Deoxys. What you might also like to know is that this was the single most deadly Pokemon in the entire draft. It got 19 kills in 8 games, and once Mia made it to playoffs, it got even more. I cannot emphasize how absolutely nuts this thing is. You assume it's just a really one-dimensional, I click Tail Glow and win mon, but this thing had some deceptively good variety. Especially so with coverage moves. You have Z Rain Dance to boost speed, Rain Dance Rest for a bulky shit, and then 108,000 different Z moves to pick just to fill a niche on your team. You could bring this to your Photosynthesis, Charizard Y Sun team and it would still be doing work, without a doubt. For third place, Shadby drafted Mega Kangaskhan, which, okay, it might not be the best Mega around, it is absolutely the most bullshit, and Shadby fucking knew it when they brought it against Derpzone and their team of fodder to boost Kangaskhan's KDR. It grabbed 5 kills this game. It absolutely could have grabbed the 6th, but Lilligant decided it's best to ingest her stash of sodium nitrite rather than allow Mega Kang to single-handedly roll a team. Honestly, Derpzone's Charizard Y getting absolutely cucked by the Ice Punch into a rock slide on turn 3 was just a really apt indicator of how this game was going to go. Darkix was right. Mega Kang really is the most dishonourable Pokemon you can have. After Mega Kang leaves, we get to see Shadbay just making a series of smart and informed decisions that keep giving him the advantage. This baton pass from Celebi into Nidoqueen on the Vault Switch was really good, by the way. It outsped the Zeraora, so I think it might be Choice Scarf Baton Pass? Incredible stuff. Anyway, we get to see Mega Kang also freeze Zeraora instantly, followed by Hitmonlee landing a close combat and leaving it on 1%. This is just a sort of testament to how Shad sort of wrecked shop in this match. They had the most powerful bond, and we get to see it in action as Derpzone accepts defeat and lets Kang get the Ice Punch for its 5th kill. I hesitate to title this as Mega Kang Sweep when it's really more of a single mum brutally murders 5. Now you might be thinking, wow, Bowser gets 2 spots in the golden moments? Yeah, we'll get to that. In second, we have what might just be the single greatest build-up and climax of the draft. But first, there's some minor little nuggets of goodness you can enjoy before we get to the main course. On turn 7, we get to see Bao's Gengar deliver a devastating, never-ending nightmare against Cheesy's Alomomola, sitting at 2/3 and it just doesn't fucking die.
Well, I've done all I can do.
It's always funny seeing a Z move just completely whiff, doubly so when it's coming off a powerful attacker. Later on, we also get to see the humble Sunfish facing off against Bao's Tapu Fini. Now Fini has taunt and consistent damage to set up a threat, but what if Aloe just has the best move in the fucking game? It's so good, I clap for it every single time. Anyway, what I really want to show you is this face-off against Mega Aggron and Gliscor. Mega Aggron's heavy slams are doing just over half to Gliscor, but with Poison Heal and access to Roost, it's looking increasingly difficult for Aggron to actually break it. And Cheesy is gaming out his fucking mind here, landing an Earthquake on almost every single predicted Roost. But after 10 turns of back and forth, it's looking to be another feather in Gliscor's cap, but not if... 10 turns. 10 turns from their face-off to the kill. This wasn't a desperate attempt to break a Gliscor. This was historical. This was Cheesy, ushering Bao's into an empty room, only to show off the KGB agent behind the door that would shoot Gliscor in his fucking head. Amazing job, you guys. Cheesy for their 10,000 IQ plan, and Bao's for being the lab rat that gets microwaved in the name of science.
Personally, I think that's a hell of a...
And for the number 1 golden moment, and what I, along with many others, possibly consider to be the pinnacle of the draft, let us turn our attention to this work of art between Nicetown and Chloe. Before we start, I spoke with the artist about the best way to view this piece in order to fully appreciate its majesty, to which Chloe responded, movie theatre screen, front row, 3rd furthest seat from the aisle on the right. Thank you, Chloe. For those watching in a cinema, please take your seat, and for everyone else, suffer in artistic purgatory, I guess. There are truly too many artistic facets being deployed here to fully appreciate them all. Scholars will look back at this piece for years to come. It's not even a golden moment, it's more of a brown moment. The charm into the primarily special attacking Volcanion, the 6-0 with 0 switches, the Hitmontop surviving the Sludge Bomb but dying to the poison, the fucking name Cleveland Steamer. Thank you, Nicetown, for playing your part in this piece of history, and good job, Chloe. Thank you very much for watching this whole mess. This has been fun as hell to write, and also completely exhausting, especially on my voice. I apologise if it's been all over the place. I don't like doing all the YouTuber slop of asking for subscribers and whatever, but this was a lot of work. From both me for working on it and for everyone who even competed in the first place to make it possible. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe or like or comment or share it with the autistic guy in your Discord group who really likes Pokemon. And I've also got a couple other videos you might enjoy. My next video, whatever it's going to be, will be far lower effort. This has taken far too long to make. Goodbye.